Welcome to the post show. I'm your host, DJ Wilma. Let's get right into it with the Mid-Autumn League brought to you by Moon Studio. It was day 2. Our first series was DeMonster versus Galaxy Racers. Now, I had predicted that this was going to go 2-0 in favor of Galaxy Racers, but let's talk about the games first. So, Game 1 was, how do I put this? Game 1 was interesting in the fact that we had a tiny Shadow Demon, Void Spirit, Faceless Void, and Underlord on the side of Galaxy Racers versus PA, Mag, Slardar, Disruptor, Undying. So basically in the early game, Galaxy Racers was like, okay, we're going to run at you. This is kind of what our draft is supposed to do. We're going to run at you, we're going to kill you. They were running at them. They weren't killing them. Like, they were killing them, but then they were dying more. Like, it was the counter attack that was always taking them down. So DeMonster basically just has a little bit of miscommunication, you know, using the glimpses at weird times, basically not being able to coordinate very well, but it didn't matter. You get the Corrosive Haze from Slardar, you get the Empower from Magnus, and you put it on your PA, and your PA just snowballs to no end. Now, that being said, 343 did actually deny an Aegis with his Shadow Demon, so it's been a long time since that's happened in Pro Dota, so that was cool. But Game 1 goes in the favor of DeMonster. Game 2, Galaxy Racer goes Mirana, Tide, Kunkka, Undying Spec versus a Grim, Tusk, Invoker, Troll Warlord, and Death Prophet. So basically, DeMonster just dominates the early game. Death Prophet kind of allows you to push towers, allows you to group up, so they just dominate the early game. Spec starts to get kind of a comeback because you know what you got to do. You got to wait until Spec has something to do, but it wasn't enough. By the time that Spec was starting to get items, Troll Warlord was pretty much invincible, and so they just kind of steamrolled Galaxy Racer. So it did go 2-0, but in the favor of DeMonster. So DeMonster will be playing against Motivate.Trust Gaming tomorrow at 6 a.m. So be sure to tune into that. And Galaxy Racer will be playing against the winner of Invictus Gaming versus Team Magma, who I will give you the details of after I talk about IO versus Matador. So IO versus Matador, I said it was going to go 2-1 in favor of Team IO. In Game 1, we have Matador picking Snapfire, Faceless Void, Mars, Rubik, and Death Prophet. So a very similar draft to DeMonster, whereas IO's going Mirana, Tide, Nyx, Ursa, and Pugna. So pretty much, hey, let's control the fight and let Ursa kill everybody. There's a lot of back and forth in the early game, but pretty much it just comes down to Ursa becoming unstoppable. So the first game does go into IO favor. So Game 2, we get Matador going Snapfire, Tiny, Sven, Quap, and Omni versus the Nyx, Lifestealer, Mars, Lesh, and DK. Now, I already have a problem with that draft from IO because you have Lifestealer who can go into Nyx, but you don't really have a good transport for Lifestealer. You don't have a lot of engagement. Like, you have a Tiny on your side with a Lifestealer. Boom, that's death, but not a lot. Whereas you look at it, Snapfire, Tiny, Sven, Quap, Omni, they have more movement. It feels like they have better control. So IO Dota basically had a decent lead at the beginning, but after like a few team fights that really just didn't go their way, Matador managed to actually just snowball, and it was nothing you could do against the Sven. Sven being really like the key thing about this. Sven just doing all that damage. Now we get to Game 3. It's already 1-1. Matador go IO, Nyx, Gyro, Beastmaster, and Invoker. And yes, I said that correctly. We have an IO Gyro. That is coming back into the meta because IO picks Mirana, Faceless Void, Spirit Breaker, Tide, and Ember. But it's like when you have Sven IO being in the meta, and then you dare to pick a Gyro IO, and it just destroys. It destroys. Gyro doesn't die. Like, Matador just looks so good in that second game. Like, so clean. So it does go in favor of Matador. Matador getting the 2-1. Going to be going up against the loser of Team Sirius versus Neon Esports. So that means that IO Dota is out. That is 0-2 for the C team. C teams have not won a single game in the playoffs yet. Now into our final match. The person who is going to be playing against Galaxy Racer, I said it was going to be Team Magma. I said it was going to be a 2-1. I was correct on the 2-1. But let's get into it. So Game 1, we have Magma going Undying, Night Stalker, Quap, Troll Warlord, and Mirana against IGV's Ember, Tiny, Morph, Snap, and Slardar. So there's a lot of run at you Dota coming from this Night Stalker, just kind of pursuing continuously while Troll's able to just AFK farm. It's funny because this game reminds me so much of that Matador game where it's just Trolls kind of farming, then he joins the fight. Trolls farming, joins the fight. So Team Magma took some really questionable fights though, like really questionable fights. And won too many at that point where they managed to completely lose their lead. Doodle became an absolutely unkillable morph, and that was game. They just got to a point where they just lost. They weren't able to team fight well enough to be able to get the kills that they needed. So Morph kind of was that spec where it's like, I'm just going to get so fat, you won't kill me. Not able to kill the Morph. Game 1 goes in favor of IGV. Game 2, Magma goes Mirana, Mars, Sven, AA, and Storm against IGV's Omni, Tiny, Slark, Bat, and Razor. Team Magma pretty much just showed they were the better team, both in the draft and pretty much had one of the most one-sided games we've seen yet. Almost as one-sided as their first game before they threw it. So that's 1-1 each apiece. So we got game 3. Magma goes Omni Knight, Monkey King, Sand King, Light King, and Mirana versus IGV's Void Spirit, Death Prophet, Tiny, Shadow Demon, and Dro. So some of this strat seems really old because like you have a save with your Shadow Demon, but what are you saving against? Honestly, now you have your Omni, who's a better save in my opinion. He's a good team fight save. You have Lycan and Monkey King who are pushing. Lycan's just going to be going at your towers. So very similar to the first game, Team Magma take an early lead and never lose it. It gets to a point where they're just sitting there being like, we're trying to knock on your door, but you're just not letting us in. Your Dro is just breaking all of our shit. Let us end the game. And they do end the game. Magma win 2-1 versus IGV. So I'm 1-2. I got 1 right, 2 wrong, but you know what? I'm not betting on SEA Dota anymore because SEA Dota is a tough time. The only thing I want to say is that these games, they almost felt like playing on the Chinese server was hindering their ability. Like the first series was just hard to watch with Galaxy Racer. I've never seen them so sloppy. I think it's the best word. They were so sloppy that I was thinking you guys have to have horrible lag or something. Like, there just doesn't make sense. Your ping must be horrible, but supposedly the ping's not. So we do get China winning every single one of these. That means 1 C team, 1 China team are out. Tomorrow we do have the Motivate.Trust gaming starting at 6 a.m. versus DeMonster, which will be quite exciting. We should also have the Team Sirius versus Neon Esports, which is the last of the first round of the upper bracket, and that will be happening at 9 a.m. CEST. Then following, is that all the games we have? We have the 23rd, and then we have, another game of LBZS versus the winner of Team Sirius and Neon Esports. So stay tuned. Get ready to wake up early in the morning and watch some fantastic Dota, because I will be there. I won't be casting, but I'll be there. I'll be doing a pre-show as well just before the event if you check it out on OMW Productions Twitch channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.